Hi, this is Eric Martin with Board Game Geek. I'm here today looking at Birdie Fight, a game by designer Yuo, published by Kochia. And this is a 1 to 4 player game in which birds do not peck each other to a horrible bloody death. No, that is not how the game is played. Instead, these birds are competing for territory, and you are going to represent one of these noble 4 flocks in the game and try to score points over 2 rounds to see who can do the best job of taking space. So, how does this work? Birdie Fight consists of a 28 card deck with cards in 4 suits, numbered 1 to 7 in each suit. There is additionally an owl card that is used only in a 4-player game, and I'll set that aside. There are also 10 tokens with values from 5 to 15, and they are laid out in a 5x5 grid, which I've compacted here for space reasons. And you place 1 card in the center of the table. You deal out the other cards evenly among the other players. There'll be 1 card left over in a 2-player game. You just put that aside. And you have access to all the cards in your hand. So you're going to look at those cards in your hand and decide what to play each turn of the game. What do you want to play? Well, it depends on what you want to score, because you're going to play all but 1 card in your hand. And whatever color you have left in your hand is the color of bird that you are representing. So it's this interesting conundrum where you want to play things in order to increase the value of a color, but of course that means you don't have that color anymore. So you can't, and once you play all the red, you're done with red and don't want red to score at all. But can you stop that from happening? So how you play is you must play a card that's adjacent to a card that's already on the grid. And I have these overlapping here just because of space reasons, to have this zoomed in as close as I can to see everything. So I can place here, you'd spread this out and have a 5x5 grid on your table. Maybe the next player goes, places a 4, and someone else plays a 1. And you continue placing cards. So you might fill up the row here. Maybe you get a 6 down here and a 1. Well, at the end of the game, you look at this. Gray has a total of 7, green has 4, blue has 3. So gray is going to get these 12 points. If you had something like this, where there was a red 7 and a gray 7, well, those cancel out. Those birds, I guess, do peck each other a little bit too much. And green will now score those 12 points. A big part of the game is trying to manufacture ties to disfavor the colors that you think other people are trying to score. But of course, they are not locked into a color until the game ends. So you're trying to hedge your bets the whole time and work out what's going to be the best in particular rows and keep track of which cards are being played. And again, a 2-player game, there's 1 card set aside. So I see my 13 cards. 1 is face up. I know my opponent has 13 of the other 14. What don't they have? What are they missing? What's the odd thing out that could be, messing up the configurations of what they have left? So you're playing off each other. You're going to score for that color, and in addition, you will score points for whatever card you have left in your hand. So of course I can keep a 1 and get 1 measly point. I can keep a 7. Hey, I've got at least 7 points, but by me holding back on this 7, is that going to stop green from doing well the rest of the grid as they work everything out? It's a real balancing act here, depending on what you're trying to score, and again, that evolves as the game progresses. With a 4-player game, 1 player will be dealt the owl at random among all the other cards, and on a turn, that player can put down the owl, pick up the card where the owl went, and then immediately play that card somewhere else. So there's one little bit of mischief that's going on in the 4-player game that's not present otherwise. Birdie Fight also has a solo mode in which you place the scoring tokens like normal, 5x5 around each side, and you lay out an X of cards in the playing area. You have a hand of 1 card. That's it, just 1. And on a turn, you are going to draw another card and then choose to either play 1 of these cards in the grid, adjacent to cards that are already there, or put the card down in front of you to declare your color for that game. And at the end of the game, you take the score of your color and subtract the scores of all 3 other colors. It's pretty tough. First time I did this, I had a score of negative 29. And I got better as I kept playing because the challenge of the solo game is to can make ties across the board. You know that you will play most of the cards. The deck has 28 cards. You're going to put 25 of them here. One will be your color. You won't see two. So there's some mystery of whether you'll get exactly the things you need to tie this and that. And that's the challenge of the game, is to make that happen and score as best you can. Anything above 0 is a success from my point of view. There's an overview of Birdie Fight, which I've played a half dozen times now with varying player counts. And it's a simple majority game in which everything's little unknown until you actually get into the course of the game. You have to watch what everyone's doing, see what they're trying to set up for. But of course, you're doing the same thing. You're probably keeping cards of every color to keep your options open as you're trying to set things up. But as you keep playing, certain things get locked in. Right? If you play the next to last card in a row, someone else gets to decide what that thing is worth. So pay attention to what they're doing, because of course they're going to be keeping their eyes on you. Birdie Fight.